Hello, everyone, and thanks very much for dropping by this Lunch and Learn on how to be a writing teacher in 30 minutes or less, guaranteed. Now, I know you're impressed and probably asking why we at the Effective Writing Center are so confident that we can deliver. You see, you already are a writing teacher. Now, this is easily proven by asking yourself two questions. Do you give students writing assignments? Check. Do you then grade those writing assignments? Another check. Therefore, you are de facto and de jure a full-fledged, quill-wielding writing teacher, like it or not. So the real issue becomes, how comfortable are you in this role? Do you feel like you spend too much time on student writing, or feel guilty that you spend too little? Do you feel qualified to even help struggling students with their writing? Well, here's some very good news for you. The mere fact that you have an advanced degree, the fact that you've been chosen to teach at Maryland's leading university, and the fact that you care about student writing, all of these give you the exact training and qualifications you need to be a writing teacher. And here's why. There are, broadly speaking, two types of writing courses and two types of writing teachers who staff them. The first is the Writer in Training course, with courses like composition and rhetoric, research writing, creative writing such as fiction, advanced business and technical writing, and so forth. These Writer in Training courses are staffed by specialists with advanced degrees in those fields, PhDs in rhetoric, MFAs in creative writing. Then there is the content area writing course, where the student must write assignments in courses like psychology and the social sciences, history, art, business, criminal justice, homeland security, human resources, finance. These courses are staffed by you, the content area writing specialist. Most of you here today are probably this second type of writing teacher. So, although there are two types of writing courses, staffed by two differently trained specialists, we are both on the same educational highway. Although we're in different lanes, we're traveling in the same direction on this road to writing success. Okay, that's it. We're done. You are a writing teacher, and it didn't even take 30 minutes to show you. Now let's get out of here and treat ourselves to an adult beverage. Stop. Wait, not so fast, you say? What about the two P's? Plagiarism and poverty, as in a poverty of writing skills. These are the two major problems you face as a content area writing teacher. First, let's deal with the impoverished student and his or her submission. You know it well. As you read, you get that nauseous feeling like bad clams. Perhaps there's irritation, even some mild cursing. You wonder how in the bleep the student made it this far and what the bleep you're supposed to do about it. Fortunately, there are two options. One is simply to say nothing, like so many teachers before you. After all, you're already overloaded, and doing nothing would make you popular with students, although academic standards will take a definite hit. The second option is to roll up your sleeves and get to work. Click on words track changes and go through the mess in front of you, line by dreadful line, trying to help this impoverished student. The only problem is that you will soon find yourself burned out. Two options. Do nothing or do everything. And that is what they call a false dilemma. There are other options besides doing nothing or going on a quixotic mission to single-handedly raise the level of writing of all the students you encounter. What are those other options? Here's what we in the Effective Writing Center recommend that you do, and it may shock you. Remember the two types of writing teachers? The writing specialist and the content specialist? Remember the two-lane road to writing success that they share? Well, here is our advice. Stay in your lane. Now, please don't take that the wrong way. In the Effective Writing Center, we wish every content area teacher cared as much as you do about student writing. You are our stars, our frontline heroes. But trying to be a content area teacher and a writing specialist at the same time is not necessarily the best choice for you or your students, especially you. Eventually, you will crash. So what should you do? Well, after the impoverished student has handed in his or her masterpiece and you've gotten over your initial reaction, you say this: sorry, the paper does not meet minimal writing standards expected in this course, period. Now, what you do next depends upon your personal preferences and maybe departmental policy. In the EWC, we work with instructors who, 1, refuse to grade the paper until the student has worked with advisors in the EWC to revise it. The project is then resubmitted and graded. Some teachers make deductions because of this extra step, some do not. Your second choice is to give the paper the grade it deserves. Then recommend that the student work with the EWC to revise the paper and resubmit it for grading. The new grade can replace the old, be averaged with the old, or any other scheme that works for you. In any case, you've done your duty as a content area writing teacher. You've recognized when intervention is needed and then referred the student to the appropriate university resource. Okay, that leaves one big area of concern. What do I do about comments? Well, as the song goes, comments? I've made a few. The first is marginal comments, and there are a few good things to say about them. They remind the student that someone, a real audience, is reading what they write, and marginal comments are also a great place to say something good about an otherwise poor paper. However, marginal comments from content area teachers have substantial drawbacks. First, they've never been shown to improve a student's writing. And second, marginal comments, corrections, and criticisms actually lower a student's motivation and openness to learn in that course. The second type is terminal comments, or end-of-paper comments, whether on a rubric or on the paper itself. Terminal comments play a crucial role. They explain and justify the grade, but they're also a place to say something positive, which is more important than negative feedback when it comes to promoting learning. Our main guideline for comments: suggest, don't criticize. For example, rather than saying, this paper is incoherent, suggest, to improve this paper's coherence, put each new reason in a separate paragraph. Also, it's recommended that you limit your terminal comments to 3 main points or less. Now, the second gut-wrenching moment you face as a content area writing teacher: plagiarism. Like writing teachers, there are 2 kinds: intentional and unintentional. First is the blatant cheater, who turns in something written by somebody else. And this attempt to cheat is obvious. And UMUC guidelines about it are very clear. The policy is 150.25, Academic Dishonesty and Plagiarism. It outlines your duty to report cheating, to whom you should report it, what to include in your report, and what will happen after the report. In other words, when it comes to blatant plagiarism, you're an academic law enforcement official, just doing your duty. But the most common problem for the content area writing teacher is the unintentional, impoverished student who needs better skills. The current recommendation at UMUC is to treat this as a teachable moment, in which you alert the student to the problem, reinforce UMUC's policy on academic honesty, perhaps refer the student to the new academic honesty module, and most important, refer the student to the EWC for tutoring on the legitimate uses of sources, perhaps with the ability to resubmit the paper after the tutoring. Now let me end with this piece of research. The single most effective tool any teacher has for preventing plagiarism is to, at the beginning of the course, explain what plagiarism is and its consequences. Something as simple as having students complete UMUC's new module on academic honesty has been shown to substantially reduce instances of plagiarism. Okay, thank you very much for stopping by. I think we're now open for comments and questions.